Hey everybody, so today's video is going to be about cutting curly hair and curly bangs. Summertime's coming up, and what better hair to wear than your curls? So this is Argentine Curly D, and this is a new Bossy Wig prototype, which I will hopefully be introducing this summer. And I'm going to use this hair to show you how I'm going to cut curly bangs. So I'm just going to throw this on, bun and all. Okay. And I'm just pulling it back right at my hairline, at the edge of my hairline, because that's where I'm going to wear it, right here on the edge. And you can see it's really long. I've been debating whether or not to cut this hair because I don't care how much it costs or how rare it is. I want my hair to look good. So the first thing I'm going to use are my shears. Actually, that's pretty much all I'm going to be using. And I'm also going to be using a clip. So what I want to do is make sure I have the hair falling where I want it to. If I'm wearing bangs, I want it to fall how the bangs would normally fall if I wear them. And I'm just feeling around because I have this wig made to for the wefts to move forward where I want the bangs. So I want them about this full, and then I'm going to get an idea of how short I want them. So I'm just going to take this section of hair in the front where the bangs would be, and I'm going to pull it up. And I'm going to keep pulling it up until I feel comfortable looking at myself and where they are hitting. So, I mean, I'm not going to pull them up here. I like them about right here. But the thing is, with curly hair, it may shrink more over time. So I'm going to cut them just a little bit lower. And also, once you cut some of the length off, it's going to shrink up a little more as well because it doesn't have the extra hair weighing it down. So I'm not going to cut them here. I'm going to cut them slightly lower. So I'm going to cut the curl to right at the bottom of my eye. That's where my final cut is going to be, not my first cut. Okay? So what I do is I start at the arch of my eyebrow and I go up like that. I'm going to start at the arch of this eyebrow and go up like that. Okay, and I'm going to clip the rest of the hair away. So I'm going to spread the hair out, and I want to make my first cuts right in the middle. So I'm just going to take one curl, move everything else out of the way so I can see, let it fall naturally. I'll take this curl. And I want my hair, my final cut, to be there, so I'm going to cut a little longer, and I'm going to snip at an angle up. You can snip down if you want. I snip up, and I'm not going to stretch the curl while I snip, and I'm going to cut at the top of my nose. There's my one cut. I'm doing it this way because I want to make sure I don't start off cutting too much, because you want to make sure it's even. And oftentimes when it's not even, what do? We have to cut more to get it even. So I don't want to start where I want my final cut, because I don't want to have to go shorter to make it even. So I'm going to take another curl, let it fall naturally. At that same point, I'm going to cut up there. Okay? And take another curl, let it fall naturally. And as I go out to the sides, I don't want them to go straight across. I want them to start to fall down. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I cut at that same point, but cut up. Top curls, you're going to want to cut them longer than the bottom so that it falls evenly instead of going this way, unless you want your hair to do that. And that's about all I want for the bang in the front to cut. So it's cut, it's not even, so what we want to do is even it up, and I'm going to go back to each curl and just cut a little more. So I have the bangs where I said I wanted to make that final cut, and this is why it's important to make sure this, if you're doing a wig, it's situated where you want to wear it on a daily basis, because if not, if you have it pulled too far forward, then your bangs, if you wear it further back, your bangs are going to be too short. If you have it pulled too far back, and when you normally wear it, it's up front, then your bangs are going to be too long. And I'm actually going to cut a little bit more just because I feel like there are a few pieces that are not even. I don't want to stretch them too much. Because like I said, you know, you might want to fluff them when you're wearing the hair, or when you wet it some more, it's going to shrink some more because that weight is not there.
Now I'm just going to do a little cutting to frame the face, because the last thing you want is to have cute bangs and to have the rest of the hair swallowing your face. And how I'm doing this is around the face, I'm cutting down and at an angle, and I'm slide cutting. And you see how I'm doing that right here. And what I'm doing is I'm just creating a shape around my face. I'm kind of cutting my face out of the hair, if that makes any sense. And I want to ensure that the shape of this cut allows the hair to flow down at an angle, to graduate down in natural layers rather than having a blunt cut bang and then immediately moving on to long length hair. So I don't want to go from short to long. I want to balance that out and have it layer down, which is where this slide cutting comes in. So I'm sliding the shears down the strands of hair without stretching the curl too much, because remember, it is still going to shrink. And I lean forward a little bit and let the hair fall forward so I can see which curls need to be trimmed down to frame my face. And remember, whatever you do on one side, you need to make sure you do on the other side to ensure you have a balanced cut. And make sure you check often to see how the hair is falling so that you don't cut too much. And if needed, you can go back in and cut more in the areas that need to be cut to balance it out.
So that's how I cut my curly bangs. Hopefully this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye.